this square needs a 7. I know that can't be a 7 because there's a 7 in that row. And that can't be a 7 because there's already a 7 there. So that has to be a 7. Welcome to the left coast. Tonight I've got a snack and some Sudoku, so I hope you'll join me. Let's just put the Sudoku aside for a second while we deal with these steak bites. Sorry, steak strips. Extra thick cut. 97% fat free. Low fat, ready to eat, gluten free. Best before September 5th, 2023. As you can tell, they're from Costco. These extra thick cut Kirkland signature steak strips feature a very tender bite and an appealing complex flavor. The thick cut of the inside round steak, special seasoning, and just the right amount of moisture what make Kirkland signature steak strips so enjoyable. They deliver the flavor and texture of seasoned steak ready to eat in a convenient, resealable package. This is a special creation. This special creation is very different from traditional meat snacks. In order to ensure lasting flavor and freshness, refrigerate the bag within 3 days of opening. adjust the camera. Hopefully that's better for you. And these steak bites are really good. Alright. Working on the left side of the page isn't my favorite, but I gotta do all of them, so I'm gonna skip this top one because it's just too hard working in the crease of the book. I'll save those ones for later. We'll focus on this one. So I'll just run through the rules for you really quick here. So each row, each column, and each row has to have the numbers 1 through 9 independently of each other. So this row has to have a 9. This column has to have a 9. This column has to have a 9. Likewise, this row has to have a 9. This row has to have a 9. But you can't have 2 9s in the same row or 2 9s in the same column. To make it further complicated, each of these squares of 9 also have to have numbers 1 through 9, and they can't repeat. Now, when I play, I kind of jump all over the place and bounce around and kind of just wherever my brain takes me, so I'll try and narrate what's happening in my brain, and you can just, follow along. And we'll have a few steak bites in between. Okay. So for example, this square needs a 7. I know that can't be a 7 because there's a 7 in that row. And that can't be a 7 because there's already a 7 there. So that has to be a 7. So here, in this square here, that can't be a 3 because that's a 3. That can't be 3 because that's a 3. So that's a 3. This one here, that can't be a 3 because that's a 3, and that can't be a 3 because that's a 3. So that's a 3. And here, those can't be a 3 because that's a 3, and those can't be 3 because that's a 3. That can't be a 3 because that's a 3, so that's a 3. Now continuing with the 3s, the only spot left for a 3 here would be there. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. All the 3s are done. So back to the top left-hand square. Looking at 8s. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8. So that leaves these 2. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8. So that's an 8. Looking at this bottom square, looking at the 1s, that can't be a 1, that's a 1, that can't be a 1, that's a 1. That's a 1. Moving over here, those can't be a 1 because that 1. That can't be a 1 because that 1. That's a 1. Looking here, that can't be an 8 because that's an 8. So the 8 has to be here, excuse me. Those can't be 8s, and that can't be an 8, and that can't be an 8. So that's an 8. And here, that can't be an 8, and that can't be an 8, and that can't be an 8, and that can't be an 8. So that's an 8. And I think 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. a 2 because that's a 2. So this is a 2. Here, this square needs a 2. So I know it has to be one of these. It can't be that one because that, and it can't be that one because that. So that's a 2. This square here, these can't be 2 because that's a 2. So that's a 2. Now, translate that to this corner. Those can't be a 2 because that's a 2. And that can't be a 2 because that's a 2. So that means that's a 2. Now we only have 2 squares left here, so let's just count and see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of those has to be a 4. And 5. That can't be a 5 because there's a 5 there, so that means that has to be a 4. And that has to be a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 4 in here. One of those has to be a 4. So that can't be a 4, so this is a 4. So now there's only one left. I can just count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of these has to be a 5. That's a 5, so that can't be a 5, so that's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is missing. 6. So one of these needs to be a 6. That can't be a 6 because that's 6, and that can't be a 6 because that's 6. So that's a 6. That only leaves one line here, one empty here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is missing. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is missing. So that's a 9. So now I've got 2 here that are singles left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is left, and 1 is the only one left there. So we're starting to get somewhere. Let me grab another steak bite. Look at that. That's a good piece there. A little focus, maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those has to be a 4. And a 5. I don't have any hints here yet. Let's try this column here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of these has to be a 6. That can't be a 6 because that's a 6. So that's a 6. Now continue with the 6s. That can't be a 6 because that's a 6. And that can't be a 6 because that's a 6. So that's a 6. Try this column. 1, 2, 3. 4 is missing. So the 4 has to go there, there. 5. Can't do anything there yet. Let's try this top row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that can't be a 4, but that or that could be a 4. 5. No luck there. And 6 is the only one left. So that can't be a 6 because of that 6. So one of those has to be a 6, and that can't be a 6 because of that 6. So that's a 6. Try this next row. 1. So 1 can't be there because that's a 1. So one of these has to be a 1, but I don't know which one is it yet. 2, 3, 4. That could be a 4, and that could be a 4. 5. That can't be this can't be a 5 because that's a 5. But I don't know about that one yet, so we can't do that one yet. Oh, look, here's one I missed. There's one left in that column, and it's a 1, so that's a 1. So that actually helps because that means these can't be 1s, and that can't be a 1 because that's a 1. So that's a 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We're missing a 1 here. That can't be a 1, and that can't be a 1. So that's a 1. Okay. We're moving along here. Let's try this row here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the 5? That can't be a 5. So that could be a 5, or that could be a 5. 6, 7. That can't be a 7, but that could. And that could, so we have to wait on that. 8, 9. That can't be a 9. So one of those has to be a 9. Let's see. Let's go. That can't be a 9 because that's a 9, and that can't be a 9 because that's a 9. So this is a 9. So that means that one of those two has to be a 9. That can't be a 9 because that's a 9. So that's a 9. Okay. Let's see this far column. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those has to be a 4. That can't be a 4 because that's a 4. So this is a 4, which leaves one left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 5, which means that's a 4. Okay. Which means that's a 5. 2, 3, 4, and that's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it is. Another one done. Good job, everyone. Let's reward ourselves with another steak. You know what? That went so well. Let's do another one. That can't be a 1 because that's a 1, and that can't be a 1 because that's a 1. So that's a 1. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8, and those can't be an 8 because that's an 8. So that's an 8. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8, and those can't be an 8 because that's an 8. That can't be an 8 because that's an 8, so that's an 8. That covers that 8. That covers those for an 8, so that's an 8. And all the 8s are done. So that can't be a 9 because that's a 9, so that means the 9 has to be here. And it can't be there or there because of there, so that's that. So 9, 9, that means one of these has to be a 9. That can't be a 9 because of that 9. So that's a 9. That can't be a 9 because that's a 9. And these can't be a 9 because of those 9s. So that's a 9. That means that the 9 is in the middle in this column, and it can't be there, and it can't be there, so it's there. And that's it for the 9s. Those can't be a 7 because that's 7, so that's got to be a 7. And those can't be a 7 because that's 7, so that's a 7. So those can't be a 5 because that's a 5, so that means the 5 has to be in this row, which means there's a 5 in this column and a 5 in this column, which means the 5 has to be in the middle column in this square. But there's a 5 on the top and there's a 5 on the bottom, so it has to be the 5 in the middle. That's not a 4 because that's a 4. So that's a 4. That's not a 4 because that's a 4. So that's a 4. Oh, yeah. One of these has to be a 4. Can't be there because that 4, and it can't be there because that 4. So that's a 4. Last number there. So one of those has to be a 3 because that can't be 3 because that one can't be 3 because that's 3, so that's a 3. This square needs a 1. That can't be 1 because that's a 1. So that's a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is left. 1, 2 is left. Okay. 1. Either of those could be a 1. Wait, hold on. That can't be a 1 because that's 1, and those can't be a 1 because that's a 1. So that's a 1, which means those can't be 1, which means the 1 in this square has to be here, which means that can't be 1, so this has to be a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. The further deep you get into Sudoku, the more of those kind of patterns you start to see. And just, the more practice you get, the more you start to see those patterns. These steak bites are good, but they're starting to get stuck on my teeth. Let's try this column here. 1, 2, so one of those has to be a 2. I'm not sure which one yet. 3, 4, 5, 6, and the other one has to be a 6. And I don't have any clues on that one yet. Not enough anyway. Let's try this other right-hand column. 1, 2. So that could be a 2, or that could be a 2. 3. That could be a 3, or that could be a 3, 4, 5. So one of these has to be a 5. It can't be that because that's a 5, so that's a 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, sort of 1, 2. There, or there. 3. Yeah, we're, can't do anything else there. Oh, hold on. That can be a 3 because that's a 3. So that's a 3. So that means this row has to be a 3. It can't be that one. It could be one of those 2. I'm not sure yet, so I don't want to write that in just yet. Let's try this column here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That can't be a 5 because that's a 5. So that's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a 6. So one of those has to be a 4. That can be a 4 because that's a 4. So that's a 4. And those can be a 4 because that's a 4. And that can be a 4 because that's a 4. So that's a 4. Okay. We're really getting somewhere with this one too. Let's see. Let's try this column. This middle column on the right side. 1. Okay, that can't be a 1 because that's a 1. So the 1 has to be here. 2, don't know which one yet. 2. 2 could be there or could be there. 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we don't have enough evidence yet. Oh, here's one I missed with only one left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is missing. So if I follow across, that can be a 7, and that can be a 7. One of those is a 7. That can be a 7 because that's a 7. That's a 7. Okay. Let's try this row here. 1, 2. That one of these is a 2. That can't be a 2 because that's a 2. So that's a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is left. 5 goes there. One of those has to be a 5. Can't be that one because of that. So that's a 5. That does this row. 1 is the only one left. And this row, 1, 2 is the only one left. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That can't be a 5 because of that 5. So that's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is left. 6. And that can be a 6. And that can be a 6. So that's a 6. 1, 2 is left. 1, 2, 3 is left. So that makes this middle one a 3. So let's do that one. 1, 2 is left. That means that's a 2. That means that's a 3. That means that's a 3. And 1 is the only one left. And there's another game done. That kind of came together really quick at the end there. Let's have another bite. Well, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did playing. Until next time.